I'm a tax preparer here at TCPA PLC. So when we're not doing the podcast, I help you, verify the data entry, make sure that rental and business expenses are all accounted for, find out if there's missing info, and if so, we follow up with the client. The other thing is just make sure that we are comparing every tax return to last year. So that's called a 2-year comparison. This applies to everyone. So if you're watching this video, look at last year's taxes when you're getting your documents ready. That's the best way to make sure that you're giving your accountant all the documents that he or she needs. So I love Smashburger, and one time I was at Smashburger using the restroom, and you know how in fast food places they have like the little checklist? Well, to make sure that people are cleaning the bathrooms, and then the employees are supposed to date and initial when they do it. And so I wanted to do that for myself. So we created essentially a checklist. What the checklist allows us to do is make sure that we have quality control across our tax returns. So you can get your tax return rejected just by reporting the wrong address. So if your address updated, it's really important to make sure that the tax return reflects that. So what this checklist that we've created does is it has us verify and initial, after we verified contact, address, those types of things, as well as the due diligence checklist, which allows us to verify things like the earned income credit, child and dependent care credits. And then, when we do go through the return, a lot of times we will need to stop to make sure we have all the info. And so the checklist also helps us to keep track of where we are in the return. Obviously, during this time of year, we're processing a large volume of returns, so organization is absolutely crucial. As you know, getting all of your documents together can be hard, and so it's very normal for there to be a couple missing items. Although, of course, we try to eliminate that as much as possible so that it streamlines the process. The first thing is we don't like when documents get slowly trickled in. So, and if you're watching this and you do this, that's okay. We still love you. But it can be very difficult on the organizational side when we get an email with one document and then you send us another document in a separate email, and then a couple days later you send us an interest statement. What that does is it gives us this feeling of I have no idea when they've given us all their documents. Are they going to send more in 2 days? Are they done? And so to reduce the ambiguity, send everything all at once. Then we'll check the return from last year. We'll let you know if there's anything else. If there is anything else, send all of the missing documents in a second upload all together. That just eliminates a lot of the confusion. That's probably the biggest thing that slows us down, and so that's probably the thing that bugs me the most. Other than that, we really are lucky to have clients that are really easy to work with. They help us. They're trying their best to get us their information. We're trying their best to work with the list of needed info and make sure that the tax return is accurate and consistent.
So the main thing, we send out tax organizers first. Everybody loves tax organizers. We send that out as an intro for them so they can kind of start collecting their documents. Typically, we want to have a meeting about 2 weeks after you get those organizers, and then they schedule the appointment. Sometimes it is here in the office or they do them through Zoom. And essentially we just go over all their paperwork. The first thing that we do is we cross-reference what they gave us last year just to make sure we're not missing anything. Ideally, these are clients that we've brought on mid last year, so we've already had tax planning meetings, so we kind of already know what to expect. The more difficult ones would be the ones that, reach out a week prior, say, hey, I got your name from so-and-so, can I come in for a meeting? One of the difficult things that people don't necessarily realize is in 2024, there's not a whole lot that we can do to help you for the 2023 tax season. So a lot of my meetings for those new clients, it's more kind of letting them know, preliminary where they stand for 2023 and kind of setting that tone of what services we are going to provide in the summertime for tax planning and kind of moving forward to next year. A lot of people forget to bring those itemized deductions like the medical, the different health insurance expenses. And I've kind of told people now with the standard deduction being raised, unless you have $10,000 of medical expenses and $15,000 of mortgage interest, unless you have that stuff readily accessible, I kind of always tell people, it's not going to blow the tax savings away. It might not even make a difference on the state side if you're not close to itemizing. So I try to save people the time of, spending hours trying to get all their medical expenses and then they don't even itemize and, they've just wasted 5 hours of their Sunday looking for something that doesn't really matter. So that's one of the biggest ones. I've noticed people that have changed jobs. Sometimes they're so focused on that new job and getting me the new W-2, they forget, that W-2 that they worked at in January, February, March of the prior year. So those are the kind of things that we miss. And I think more than anything is the broker statements, as you are well aware of. We don't have access to your broker statements. We do not have a broad access to everything Fidelity, Schwab, TD Ameritrade before they got bought out. So those actually do have to come from you or your advisor. If you have a great advisor, I try to, meet with everybody's advisors so we establish that rapport, kind of do, the team approach, provide the most value. So the really good advisors, they will say, hey, I remember you said that you were meeting with John Smith next weekend. Here's his broker statements. Those are the best ones. Those are the financial advisors.
Keep those ones.
Yeah, those are the ones we send cookies to at the end of tax season.
Yep.
I am tying everything out and it's just mentally challenging. Well, because the owners and shareholders are taxed based on that tie out being correct right now, and working on a big company on their distributions for the past 3 years. Working on that, making sure that they're equal, because as you know, in a partnership they have to have equal or an S corp they have to have equal distributions. And if they don't, then they have to fix it.
Does that require a little correspondence with the shareholders then?
Sometimes a lot of it is just following the bank account and fixing it in the books.
And what I found the best thing that I do is, when I start to get stressed, when I was younger and smarter, I'd work out. Now, I buy stuff on Amazon. I get up early and I'll go walk around the farm property. By the way, we'll do that on one of the future, the homestead.
Oh, you're gonna do a tour.
But yeah, I walk around and try to clear my head a little bit, and then I just go in, I start working on files. And sometimes it'll be 4 o'clock and I'll just come up. I don't eat most of the time. I forget. I'll do like energy drinks, but I forget to.
So you're running on fumes and energy drinks sometimes.
Yeah. These things work good. This is an Amazon product. I give some of these to Jerome. These are like.
We aren't sponsored, but we'd love.
We would sponsor.
Jelly Belly, if you want to reach out to us.
Yeah. So these with energy drinks, I find that I like to do 4 to 5 Red Bulls a day, and then I kind of chew on these in between too. So we do extend about half of what we do, we extend. So we do half of our returns now, and the other half are businesses that are made up of 20 partnerships or 10 different LLCs. So what becomes hard is it's kind of like setting up dominoes in reverse.
Gotcha.
And you have to set it up so that you can flow that through and push the domino later on and flow it all through.
Right.
So what I find is hard is just matching that up. And since we're definitely not fans of government oversight and overreach, we want to take advantage of all of the tax cuts
Right.
and availability there are, and those change all the time. So keeping up
Gosh.
on that with lots of businesses, tax software doesn't even touch it. AI doesn't touch it. I wish they did. If AI would bridge the gap between tax software and my brain, which I'm only
Right.
human, but if you gave me an AI brain
Right.
to bridge in between the software, I think it would be more. We're one of the few firms I know of that actually actively tax plan, though. What I mean by
Gotcha.
that is we don't say you should have, or hey, here's an idea. We put the idea in our software, we send out a reminder, we get the client in, we do the meeting. So if we do a defined
Yeah.
benefit or a pension plan, or we're trying to take
Yeah.
advantage of a,
And if we do their payroll through CamPay, it's
Yep.
even easier because we literally.
because we have everything under
Yeah.
one roof. But yeah.
All right, so that's what our office looks like mid-tax season. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and tune in to next week's video.